Alright, howdy y'all. This is episode 3 of Inside the Film Room. On yesterday's stream, excuse me, we tried to find a way to deal with the Aessa Conrad stacking without doing the same thing ourselves and just adding a bulwark, which is the popular solution on the forums. So we did come up with something, and that's kind of what I want to show here. Keep in mind that we're not going to win this particular Morcane, but it will show the point regardless. Now, let me get my chat window set up. Alright, so finally got the chat window up here, looks like. Alright, excellent. Alright, so I have stopped the footage right before the match. We're just gonna get... I think this was right before the match anyway. The silence one. iPhone, I guess you want to tank it? Okay, so here it is. You want to be, I don't care.
So you'll be able to pull a lot more damage on the Oxys.
Alright.
Welcome
so what we were talking about on this one is...
And you want draw going for the silence, so...
You misunderstand, I want draw for the single target focus damage. And an armor debuff. Yeah, this will work. iPhone, I guess you want to tank it?
Fight!
She doesn't like tanking.
Show that feminine fury. Go ahead.
They have a lot of fun in Raid Call. I don't see why some people are so averse to voice chat. It makes things so much easier.
Remember watching the video, Alden was playing the Ogre. I didn't get, was he calling off the silence or...
Actually, let's go back a little bit here. That's too far. Well, okay, here we go. This is important.
Remember
coming up here.
The video, Alden was
Okay, so this is actually important right here. We'll see green coming up. We know that we're coming from this direction, so we know they're coming up this way, and we know they're going to come in from this exit. Well, forgive the crappy arrow. They're going to come in from this side.
The Ogre. I didn't get, was he calling off the silence or were you doing that?
It's important to usually call out important stuff like that. If you blow a big 30-second cooldown, usually your group needs to know about it. I mean, if it's Elite Bodyguard, yeah, that one's pretty obvious. You know, the big blue roaring lion thing shows up over your head. But if it's not an obvious one, like a silence or something, you need to let the group know. Both of us. Alright, so they end up seeing us. They come behind us. However, we had already dealt with blue at this point. So let's look at this comp. We've got, let's see, we've got a Conrad. There's an Aessa. Let's see, so we got a Conrad. There's an Aessa. Looks like a mummy. There's another Conrad right there. We got two Conrads, an Aessa, a mummy. I know I saw an Ikrik back there earlier. I'm not sure what the 6th is. Okay, so the 6th is Albodi. Okay, so what they're really trying to do is they don't like Aessa. That would be the only logical reason you'd bring in Albodi in this case here. In fact, here comes the Ikrit coming from behind. They probably, this, if I remember right, this guy's coming after me. Okay, so hitting for 5 damage, that means bodyguard is up. We need to find the Aessa that hit the bodyguard and switch to that Aessa. Okay, now what blue has done is blue came from here, came got this flag, and then they just moved over here. Not something I normally recommend, but I think they know that both teams are located in the middle, so they're safe to do that. Blue is not really the focus of this anyway. Somebody we need to know.
Anyone calling targets or anything?
Okay, so one thing about playing Drogue, you have the big damage cooldown. You know, you have Bone Cruncher. Okay, people need to know what that's on so they can hit it. Okay, it's always a Drogue's responsibility to call targets because of his skill set. Always. And it's really easy to do. Just press C1, man. We'll hit what you're hitting. We took too long to find the Aessa. Since this fight is taking too long, what's going to happen is Blue's going to come up and get us here pretty soon. I don't remember what exactly it is, but it's not going to be long. Yep, there they are. Alright, let's get the flag.
Blue East.
Yep. So we need to engage them again. Alright, so they've switched this. There, let's go back a little bit. They've actually switched this a little bit. There was an Ikrit there before. This was an Ikrit. This Ikrit has become a Conrad. Okay, so now their comp stands at Aessa, Conrad, Mummy, Albodi. So this is a very, very defensive group at this point here. Probably should have let this one go and gone for the other flag, because they're just way the heck too tanky at this point, and basically all that armor makes this guy kinda useless. I mean, the Mummy can kinda cover for it, but you know, the Drogue has to call a target, so the Mummy knows what to debuff. So we know what to kill. And typically in a group like that, you have to kill the Aessas first. Otherwise, you'll never get through to anybody else.
You have been judged!
Of course, I'm dead instantly. That's one thing about that Conrad group, is when all these Sigmar's fists are going, you know, it adds about 1/3 of the damage you do on to every attack. Basically, you do 1/3 of the damage everybody else in the group does. So if you got 3 Conrads all hitting Sigmar's fist at the same time, everybody does double damage. And that is why you see people melting this fast. I think it's something that needs to be addressed. I don't believe it should be allowed to stack like that. I think you should be limited to 1 at a time. Okay, so if you have 2 Conrads, the second Conrad hitting theirs drops the first one. That was it, or something like that.
Wow, they were ready for that.
So at this point, we needed to talk about a switch anyway, and yeah, the glory after half your team's dead, yeah, that doesn't help. You're better off hanging on to it. should have made the switch here. But the problem is, we're dealing with this, so we have to go back and help out our team here, because, you know, green doesn't have enough offense to clean this up. We're still alive. But in the meantime, blue has managed to get 2 flags and the artifact. And because this is taking so long...
You can't actually silence anyone on green?
No, I may not be able to silence them, but I can take advantage of that with massive backlash to absolutely bomb the crap out of someone. But, you know, the sad thing is, even though they took that much damage in 1 crit...
Hey, no, we still get the damage bonus.
Sure, but just saying. You might want to save it for blue or whatever.
See, and now here comes blue. We're all dead. Green is still up. There's green, blue's coming in. I'm gonna be dead here. There's nothing I can do about that. I got 2 Igrics against me. It's not gonna work as an archivist.
No, though I don't think you can silence much on blue either.
Alright, this, we're gonna have to switch this combat, because, yeah, there's no casting to kill, this doesn't work.
Alright, so we recognize we gotta switch something here. On a droid comp, first thing you switch is almost always you switch the droid first. Unless you have a very, very specific reason why not. See, because we have no casters, there's no one to silence. That's a... you know... if we have no one to silence, then, you know, he kind of loses his potency. He's still good for the... still good for the Bone Cruncher, but his AoE silence is his big selling point.
It's all melee and shit.
Yeah, it's all melee. So here's what's going through my head at this point here. I need to switch heroes. Archivist is not going to work against 3 Conrads and 3 Igrics. That's just going to be a bad time. I'm going to be permanently silenced and just spiked down if the other 2 teams so desire, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I've got to pick somebody else, but we still need damage. So it kind of rules out Nethys. It kind of rules out Ilanya too, but she is ranged, at least, so we can take care of it that way. But yeah, this is tough to do, because we've got to get a comp that has enough offense to punch through what green's doing and still be able to survive blue when they ambush us with 3 Igrics. iPhone gives us a suggestion, because I got no clue what to pick.
Damn it, I don't know what to pick.
Go as a sword for now, and when we all die again, we'll figure something out.
I don't like that. That can negatively affect morale. That should, I mean, always try to be positive. Half this game is psychology. In fact, half of all PvP games are psychology. You don't want to negatively affect the psychology of your own team. So, what's going to happen here is that we're going to move in and take this, but, of course, blue's going to come in and take this flag from us here. So that's going to go blue, and then we're going to lose this. Notice that blue is winning.
They're incoming. I'm gonna silence.
Right. So why blue is picking on us, I don't know, but I guess they've just decided we're not going to win the game.
Problem is because we're gonna have to come up with a comp that counters both teams. You gotta have magical damage to punch through what green is doing, but if you do that, you leave yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick a single target damage.
No, wait, go west.
West flag.
And another thing that annoys me is that somebody changing heroes who's not on raid call and doesn't bother to say anything.
Okay, so let's think about this. Maybe get a Volric to kill one lion, and then
Speak. Get your CC on.
Okay.
And we'll pull a Volric too. I'll switch to a Volric because they just got way too much healing. And that way we can have 2 heal debuffs and we don't lose too much damage for it.
I can switch to damage dealer because Neek has a lineup.
Please do. Yeah, so blue has no team fight. They have to skirmish. It's working for them. I hate it when the rats breathe. Now, I should have been trying to find the Alanya that had the bodyguard up, but that wasn't going through my head at the time. Yeah, and here comes blue egg.
Take east.
Yeah, well, I guess all of it's because we're all dead. Second up, we probably might have gone west at this point.
Green incoming me.
So we're gonna start dealing with this. Again, what I said earlier, okay? Switching heroes, not saying anything. Okay, if you're gonna switch heroes, if you're in raid call, you need to say something. Okay, and Durg is just the absolute wrong choice here. Mainly because we're dealing with 5 armored characters. We got 2 Aessas, we got 3 Conrads, so that's 5 armor. Durg's not gonna do shit. And we also needed the second support. That was just switched off. So that was also not a good call. However, despite that, we're able to chip away at this a little bit. Basically, I pulled him out of the range of the bodyguard, try to get rid of the support. Basically what we're going to have to do is just heal debuff the Aessas, and just take them down one at a time. Hello, whoever joined. Just breaking down some film on this one today. Found a way to deal with the Conrad Aessa stacking. That's a bunch of armor.
Yeah.
Although we're not going to win this, but...
And we need a lion back.
This is why I like using raid calls, because they don't do random shit like that.
I'll tell him to grab a
Let
line.
me see if I can fast forward a little bit to the next engagement here. No, that's too far. I guess it was just about to happen there, sorry. There it is.
Get over here!
Engage green again. Yeah, I should have pulled the Aessa. That was a mistake. And about Wrath of Heroes, this is a very punishing game. That one mistake I made there, pulling the wrong character, and then we're just completely dead.
We're gonna need another flag from the Middle East.
Yeah, so it's like both of those flags were covered. Yeah, this is probably what we need. And again, I don't understand this switch. I mean, we're short support, so we need a support at that point. I don't know why Alanya came out there. Now, the thing is, with green focusing on it so much, blue is running away with it. Here's the thing, blue has no fight whatsoever. Get them in a straight up fight, kick their butts. Problem is, we can't get them in a straight up fight. So we fixed my mistake from the last game here. Use the Arctis heal debuff for the first one.
On the other line now?
Use my heal debuff on the other. Oh wait, was that my... No, that was my heal debuff on the first one, sorry. Reverted the line again. Okay, Aessas are gone. Now we can work on the support. Usually get the mummy first. Protects my Aessa. And of course blue comes behind us again. Yeah, because then blue just comes behind us.
Yeah.
You know, so we are dealing with green somewhat effectively. As soon as we leave. Well, maybe should have gone for south flag at this point. But the thing is, this works. If we went south, okay, so yeah, we're gonna get a straight up team fight on blue, and we will win this, no problem. And of course, green comes in after we're weakened from fighting blue's DPS. Yep, knew it. There's the Icarus right there on the flag. Knew it. He's gonna kill me the second it comes upset. I should pull for the damage there, although that's gonna be a mistake because green is gonna come out and charge us here in a second if I remember this right.
To be honest, we're also a bit lacking on the healing department.
I would agree with that. Now green's just sitting in the middle here. But they got out of the way too quick. Alright, so what's going on? Oh, hello, who just joined? Just breaking down some tape here. This is a rather rough Morcane temple. I mean, we're trying to figure out a way to deal with the Conrad Aessa stacking. We're dealing with a group here that's 2 Aessas, 3 Conrads, and a mummy. And of course, I can't get positioning for any kind of pull here. And then blue comes right up behind us, so yeah, there's nothing we can do about that from both sides. And blue on this one just decided we just weren't going to do anything. Blue's running 3 Icarus. They got 2. They got 1 Lucian, they got an Aessa, and a Bulwark, is what I can tell.
Your death is overdue.
And since they have all the mobility,
Time is
if you look at our
out.
comp, and you look at the green comp, they're both very slow.
You could trade. I mean, it's not going to make a difference in this
Hey,
match,
Speak.
but what if we trade? I mean, we have to trade Melania for it, I think.
Then who would actually kill the lions?
One Melania should be able to kill the lion. Along with the
You must
Artemis.
call my AV.
Along with the
Alright, so now we're going to ambush them this time.
Oh, there's AV.
Although they have perks ready, so it doesn't matter. So what green is doing, they're just charging up perks on blue.
Oh, they hit burden up top. This smoke gonna pull. Get out.
Yeah, if you look at this though, we're very weak to blue's comp. So this is what we should have been running from the ever since we noticed the green. Running that stuff. This would have given us a chance against all the single target burst that blue was bringing. The reason I ignored the player there, it's like, dude, it wasn't your skill that won that. It was green and orange. You know, the two of us have to deal with each other.
The other is
They couldn't win a straight team fight to save their lives. And yeah, they end up beating us.
I hate it when that rat's free.
Yeah, I think that's the moral of the story. I hate it when the frickin' rat is completely free. So overall, on that match, we were way too slow to make switches. The drogue stayed out far too long. There were uncalled switches on there, particularly from the player not in raid call, and particularly one that was in raid call, but, you know, hey man, tell us what you're doing. So yeah, Speak, I don't know how much you saw all this, but I'm sure you remember this one. This was the rough Morcane with you remember this one anyway, man? Yeah, this one was not fun. Yeah, we were not as coordinated as we needed to be to win this one. I still can't believe blue ended up winning that. Well, you can silence the 4, but that doesn't help if he's already hit it. Yeah, that's part of the big reason you bring Conrad is you can't silence him. Yeah, so he's armored, he can't be silenced. And yeah, so they're stacking Conrad, you gotta get off the ogre. No. No, all his stuff is physical aside from his number 4. Kind of like on Drogue, yeah, he does physical damage, but you can silence him to stop him from using his 5. So you may not be able to stop everything with the silence. Like, if I'm not mistaken, if you silence Aessa, you can stop her from using Bodyguard. I want to double check that, but I believe that that's correct. I think, anyway. We'll make sure at some point. Let's see. I think there was another one I wanted to go over here as well. I just don't remember where it was. Yeah, delaying Bodyguard does definitely help, particularly if they're expecting a Bodyguard at the beginning of the fight and they're not going to get it for 6 seconds into the fight. Yeah, that's a big deal. Trying to remember what other stuff you can silence too. That's not typical. Yeah, you can silence everything on Nethys. So that's why you pick Archivist against Nethys. It's a melee, so you got the root and the snare. You can heal debuff. She has a heal. She has a regeneration, and then the silence just completely stops all her stuff. Or also, the stagger would. Well, the stagger's an equal opportunity. Mess her up, or so. Unless, of course, the Nethys is slotting the balance, or perfect balance, but then again, if she's doing that, then she's not doing as much damage either, so she's less of a threat. Like, for example, on my Nethys in full damage spec, I can hit... if everything lines up, I can pop you for 500 damage every 5 seconds. But then everything has to line up for that. That means I gotta have my 4 active, I gotta have my 3 going, and the 2 and the 4 proc both have to crit. But, Nethys has a pretty good crit chance when her 3's up, so... Oh gosh, what else can you silence? I'm trying to think. I think you can silence Witch Brew on Coralie, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what else. Okay, you need to watch the assist counts at that point. Yeah, it's still kind of a tricky thing. What I do in Arena is I just look at the score. There have to be 25 assists before the Lord of Change can come into play. Okay, so until a team has 125 points, there's no Lord of Change in play. And the other thing about that is because it takes 25 assists, the game is to 50 kills. Alright, so the game ends on the 50th kill for the team. You're only going to get 1 Lord of Change per character. So yeah, that's very important, because if they pop the Lord of Change and you silence it, you've taken it out for the entire game, because he can't get it back. I think that's why they changed Lord of Change from 20 assists to 25, to make it a one-time shot on Arena. And that's helped quite a bit. Yeah, mid-late game, if they're stacking healers, you should use heal debuffs to deal with that, rather than a silence anyway, because you have Conrad in play, or if you have Mummy in play, if you silence him and he's already hit the heal, he's still going to heal. So, I mean, denying a healer with silence is exclusive to Glogob. You can do that with the Glogob, but it doesn't work so well against. It doesn't work at all against Conrad, and it's ineffective against Mummy if he's already got his heal proc going. And you know his damage too. I mean, you silence Mummy, well, if he's already got his 4 on you, you know, what are you gonna do? It really depends on the situation. Typically, if you're going to get lore to change, it's going to be at the beginning of the engagement. The usual tell for that is going to be the Glogob leading the charge, or you know, whoever's going to do it's going to lead the charge. It's almost always going to be a Glogob, though, because that's the easiest care to get assists on. Yeah, healer running in first is, yeah, exactly. Healer running in first late game, that's usually a problem. Healers normally don't run in first. In fact, that's how I stopped it on that first inside the film room. That's how I knew he was going to do it. He ran in first. It's like, oh, okay, easy enough. Pop. Yeah, I just really... The problem with the Conrad stack, though, it's not that it heals too much, because you can deal with the healing. Okay, you can completely negate it. The problem is it just does too much damage. Got to do something about that Conrad 4 to not encourage that kind of stacking. Because that's just dumb. I'm sorry, I got 3 Conrads, they've all hit 4, and then they all hit 2. You just did, what, 450 damage AoE? It's ridiculous. And then that's going to be back up in another 5 seconds. And then plus you got, you know, the 5 running during all this, so that's another good chunk of damage there too. That's getting, yep, yeah, it's just too much if you allow multiple Sigmar's Fists to be active at once on the same team. But typically in games like this where it's all high tier warbands, Lore to Change is not going to be a threat. Because one team shouldn't be so dominant that they're going to get it. So in that case, I might use the silence. Typically, if I'm going to silence somebody, I'm going to silence magical damage. You know, if there's a Felicia, you know, I'm going to silence that before I silence a Glogob, because we've got other ways of dealing with Glogob. I don't want to necessarily blow the silence on that. You know, or I'll silence the Alanya, or, you know, something like that. But no, it's all very fluid. And you also got to be careful, though. You don't necessarily want to waste a ton of resources if you don't know where the third team is. So that's the other thing you got to keep in mind. I mean, particularly with this game here, what happened? We blow, you know, green and us would blow our resources on each other, and then blue would just come up behind us. They're all DPS, and they just finish us off after we blew all our stuff on each other. Right, exactly. Yeah, they had the 3 rats come in and they cleaned up. And the problem is that we couldn't counter both the green comp and the blue comp at the same time. Because the green comp perfectly countered the blue. Hey, I got, you know, 5 guys with armor. Come and get me. You know. Yeah, rats aren't going to do much against that. Then again, we had to deal with green, but while we were dealing with green, blue would come up and jam us, so we've got to find a way of dealing with that quicker. I mean, honestly, I think the damage needs to be nerfed on that Conrad group. Yeah, and they farmed the perks on blue and then dumped them on us. So yeah, we have to call switches quicker, and I'm going to be a lot more insistent upon people being in raid call. I mean, a lot more insistent on it. Because these random switches without calls are just, hey, tell us before you do something, we'd appreciate it. Yeah, I usually like to start with the Drogue, though. Drogue is one of those heroes, if he gets going, he can dominate the entire game. But if you can't get him going, you gotta get off him quick. I usually give him like maybe 2, maybe 3 deaths. If I pick up 3 deaths on a Drogue and I'm not, dominating the kills at that point, I'm gonna come off him pretty quick. Because he's one of those snowball heroes, and that's just because of his passive. Well, actually, there's a lot of people on 6v6v6.com. They just don't use the rake. I mean, particularly in a game like this, I don't see how you do this without voice chat anymore. I mean, particularly when you get to the level of competition that we're at, and we gotta fight these highly organized warbands. I mean, shoot, you start to approach top 200, everybody's in warbands at that point. Yeah, it does. That really surprises me, too. Let me see if I can find this other match that I was wanting to do here. Was it this one? No. That was the one we steamrolled. This is the one with dude running off by himself all the time. That was a steamroll. This is basically I'm just going through the recording from yesterday. I've got all 4 hours of it on my hard drive. I'm just kind of going through it, seeing if I can find any other matches that would be of use to watch. Again, really. Although I don't think there is. Nah, I don't see anything. Oh, whoops. That kind of messes it up there. The parts are going to be in on Thursday. So hopefully that'll bring the video quality up just a little bit. Hopefully, anyway. I know it's on something like this. When I do the inside the film room ones, I know the video quality is extremely good because everything's already pre-rendered. So yeah, it doesn't have to work at all to do anything, and the video quality is pretty much the same as what I've got here. But yeah, trying to do it live is a pain in the butt. I got an AMD system coming. It'll be liquid cooled. I'll try to overclock it to. It's a 4.2 gigahertz processor. I can probably easily push it to 4.6. I'd like to try to get it close to 5, but that's really hard to get stable. But we'll see. But no, it's going to have like 32 gigs of RAM. I'm going to have like 4 terabytes of hard drive space. 2 separate hard drives. it'll be pretty nice. Got a much better video card. I can turn up the graphic detail. Well, you know, we don't have to keep watching this on stick figures, because this is basically what I have it on now. Well, yeah, I dropped a pretty penny on the thing, so hopefully it'll be worth it. Oh, man. Well, let me shut this down. I'm going to stop the stream temporarily. I'm going to change the title. I'm going to set up my normal game stream on XSplit, and then I will be right back. I'll keep the chat open, though.